Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're going beyond popcorn and toffee apples again. I'll go take a look at making some apple turnovers. It's a really simple, quick and easy recipe that you can adapt to various different ages and produces something that's filling, satisfying and all within. You should be able to pack it into a 2-hour session, no problem. So if that sounds interesting to you, then keep watching and I'll see you in a mo. Our first task is to get a fire going because we're going to need a whole lot of embers for underneath and on top. So for this I'm using a standard kind of log cabin fire lay so that I can get it lit and we can then walk away from it and get started with our preparation while this burns up on its own and then burns down to embers. So we've got our crisscross pattern of wood, so bigger stuff on the outside, and then we've got layers of thinner kindling in the middle there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to hopefully light this cotton wool and birch bark here, and then we can just push it underneath. Give it a little shove right underneath the kindling in the center, and hopefully as the flames climb up the center they'll ignite the logs around the outside as well, and we'll get a good bit of embers as well as a burst of heat. Now this is a good time to pop, if you need it, to pop a kettle on here. Make use of any fire you have, any heat you have. You may as well go into the water rather than just going to waste. So the first thing we need to do is to prepare the apple mixture, the stuffing that goes on the inside. Now this is where you need to make a decision on how long you have and the capability of the people that you're working with. If you're working with younger ones and they've got a compressed amount of time, then you may want to get a can of apples, and then all you're going to do is just mix this with some cinnamon, possibly some sugar if you want to, and just chop them into slightly smaller pieces, and that'll work a lot faster. So you can even prepare that ahead of time and have a bowl full of stuffing, and basically they'll have the apple mixture, and then they can just fill it straight into the pastry, and it can go straight onto the fire, and that is a whole lot faster. But for us, we're going to go for the slightly longer version, the slightly more involved version, and this is a great opportunity to practice some of those knife skills, to develop some cooking life skills. We're just going to take some apples and we're just going to chop them up into, it can either be slices or chunks. It's up to you, up to the learners as well. And we're just going to get a whole lot of apples chopped up into smaller pieces. I mean, if you don't have too long to stew these, you might want to peel them first, but for our purposes we're just going to go for quite a fine dice. Cut the cores out. Like I said in my my cooking knife video, if you want to help little ones to chop safely, you can just get them to press down on the top of the knife blade like that. That keeps their fingers out of the way. It's more advanced, holding either side, making a cat's paw and dicing it up as you go. Once you've got them all chopped up, and I've done a relatively small batch, I've only done an apple and a half because it's only going to be for 3 of us today. Now if you've got enough time, I'd recommend browning the apples in a little bit of butter. You can also use a vegan, vegetarian alternative. But as if you want to work this through quite quickly. We're just going to add a little bit of water, just enough water to start it cooking. Yeah, add some cinnamon, some brown sugar to taste. Now you can keep this entirely sugar free, and I'm just going to add just one little lump in there. Because these are red apples. If you make them with green, you might want to, or gathered apples, you might want to look at adding a little bit more sugar. Or if you want to just have red apples and then go entirely sugar free, that's a good option as well. So once we've got that all mixed up, then we're just going to get it on the fire and simmer. So our fire's died down a bit here, and I've just had the Dutch oven just gently warming up over the flames there. Which usually isn't a bad idea to pre-warm your Dutch ovens, particularly on a cold day like this. I'm just going to hook the pot. Now you don't want this on massively high heat, but if you've got a decent amount of water in the bottom, then you can have it over a decent flame. The basic idea is that we keep coming back to this, stirring every now and again until it's soft. Obviously, if you went through the whole process with canned apples, you don't need to do this. You just need to get the mixture together, and then it'll go straight in the pastry. Okay, our apples are now soft, and we're just going to swap it over. So I'm going to take the apples off and then put Dutch oven on to preheat. Just like with a regular oven, it's good to get these Dutch ovens absorbing heat before you need to bake in them. We're going to take our pastry strip, add a little bit of our apple mixture in the center, and we're going to fold it over, and then we're just going to crimp the edges in to stop it all leaking out. You can probably make this look way prettier than I do. So, bushcrafter and practical person at heart, don't do well with making things look beautiful. Okay, and then we have our little pastry, and we can repeat that a couple more times. We've used up our apple mixture, or used up our puff pastry, and then they'll be ready for the oven. Okay, we've taken our Dutch oven off the fire. Just going to pop in a little bit of grease-proof paper. Just tuck it in there. Just going to pop one of our pastries at the bottom there. So there's something new that I'm trying out. This is a convection oven grill tray. I'm just going to add another layer in here. Going to pop the lid on, and this is going to go onto our fire again. Once we've got our Dutch oven back on the fire, we're going to want a good amount of top heat as well. So if you've got any large embers, you're just going to stack them on top. The bottom probably has a decent amount of heat already. But as you can probably tell, I'm going to need to stoke up the bottom quite a bit more. So we'll get some more wood on the bottom there. Got a good bit of embers on the top. And it should cook pretty nicely. Should be about 15-20 minutes until those are done. While we're waiting for those to cook, I wanted to share one of the things that makes Wellness Woodlands so special, and that is these quirky little things that you'll find in corners all over the site. So right here we've got a boat, a little motorboat just here right next to the pond. Behind the camera we've got one of the canvas tent sites, so they'll usually have a canvas tent pitched there that you can hire. But there's just so many little bits that really capture a sense of adventure. You might find Rip Van Winkle sleeping underneath a tree over that way. There's a sword in the stone over that way. There's a carved frog next to the pond. There's a little fairy village in the woods. There's so many little things that really spark joy and wonder. And so if you want to get out away from it all for a little bit with your family, I can't recommend any place more than Wellness Woodlands. It's a really beautiful site. So if you haven't been or you haven't heard of them before, do check them out. I'll leave a link to them in the description. And now back to the pastries. So about half an hour or so later, 20 minutes to half an hour. I mean, it's worth checking every now and again just to see what it looks like. Caught the paper. Really what you're looking for is a golden brown and crunchy top. So if you just give it a little tap with your fingernail. Yeah, if it needs more, then just pop some more heat on, pop it on. Try not to open and close your Dutch oven too often, because otherwise you'll lose the heat quite quickly. Yes, so my recommendation, give it a go, see how you get on. Let me know whether this recipe works for you. With that, thank you so much for watching. Remember to make the most of every day, and I'll see you all next time.